Hi friends, welcome to the NPTEL course Business Development from Start to Scale. We are in week 5 with the theme of connecting with customers. In this lecture, the 22nd in this series, we discuss the topic of customer typologies. One of the important aspects of management is to reduce complexity to simplicity, heterogeneity to homogeneity. Otherwise, marketing, which has to do with millions of people, needs some methodologies to challenge complexity with its own paradigm of simplicity. That's where the marketing skill lies. So, in this session, we will talk about customer typologies. There are benefits of thinking of a strategic customer mix. That is, customers who are governed by a similar strategic approach to demand and a similar tactical approach to purchases. This helps the company to understand the kind of strategic product mix that could be developed to meet them. This approach of SCM or strategic customer mix reflects a price feature mix that customers will support. So there are four types of classifications that are possible. Low on features, high on price. That is a customer group which is willing to take low features but is willing also to accept a high price. This kind of customer group could be flush with funds, could be making those purchases for others in their family system. Although it is an unlikely customer group, it is not entirely unfeasible. When capacity shortfalls occur or when demand outpaces supply, this customer group does exist. There is no choice other than buy products of lower features at higher prices. Particularly when you have these kinds of shortages and demand increases. Then the other group is one of high price and high features customer group. This is a logical outcome for customers who seek highly differentiated, feature rich products and are willing to pay the price for it. As an emerging economy becomes a developed economy, the share of this type of customer group increases high price and high features. There could be other customer group which is low on price and low on features. This is the typical bottom of the pyramid customer group seeking basic products at low prices. This is again an essential part of an emerging economy marketplace. This is important to ensure that there is social equity. It is also important that we are able to develop the bottom of the pyramid customer group to higher levels progressively. As Dr. C.K. Prahlad said, even the bottom of the pyramid customer group has its own value to companies and they could be seen as partners in progress of the company as well as the economy. Then we have low price, high features group. This is a very demanding group. That is, they are not willing to pay the price that is required for high features. This occurs when capacity outpaces the demand and the customers in the buyer's market demand the best of product specifications at the lowest possible prices. Consider a situation where electric vehicles are available alongside ICE in vehicles. The customer may demand much higher level of features in the ICE vehicle so that he can leverage the mandatory arrival of the electric vehicles to tell the ICE vehicle manufacturer or dealer that look, I am willing to patronize you provided you give me better features. This price feature mix also determines the size of the customer group and also the volumes it provides. There is another customer typology you can think about. It is related to the economy and the income levels of the families and customers. Customers are governed by their incomes even as they seek features and performance. Our desires may be towards high end products, but our ability to buy could be towards middle level or low end products. So, the customer typology is then defined by multiple combinations of the income pyramid and the features pyramid. Just as we have an income pyramid, we also have a feature pyramid for products. So the income pyramid comprises of low income, lower middle, upper middle, and high income. This is something which we have seen even earlier. But in terms of the feature pyramid, you have basic feature, then basic plus feature, high minus feature, and high plus feature grouping. And the correspondence of the income pyramid with the future pyramid works like this. Generally, high income pyramid customers opt for high feature products. Upper middle customer groups prefer high minus kind of products. Lower middle customers prefer basic plus products. Low income customers prefer basic products. When you look at this composition, you will have several combinations, and these combinations are not just four. If you look at the previous slide where we said that even a high income customer may take a basic product, the number of combinations that could arise with plausibility are many. It is not necessary, therefore, there is always a low or a high pattern of combination between the two pyramids. Again, that's where the marketing skill lies in understanding the viable combinations that could happen in the marketplace. Market research plays a good role in this situation. So let us look at this as an example. What could be the strategic customer and product mix for a mobile phone company? Samsung is a noted manufacturer of Galaxy series of mobile phones. It has not stopped with just one Galaxy model, it has taken up several series in that particular family. So it has come up with two ways of looking at the market. The one way is to segment the market in terms of low level of product features and high level of product features. And the other way has been in terms of the budget prices and the high end prices. So the customer groups for Samsung Galaxy mobile phones are in terms of four categories. The highest is the S series, which combines high product features with high price. The next is the low product feature, high price group, which is mimicking the S series but not exactly being the S series. So this is the SC series. Then we have products which offer budget customers a superior experience and therefore trying to enlarge the budget applicability of the products. So MA series fall into this category. High level of product features for a mid-range phone but at low and mid-range price. Then we have got products which are generally sold online, which are intended for low budget people and offering low product features. Not every CEO will be able to intuitively and technologically forecast what can inspire customers at different value points and different price points. Most companies, therefore, will need to follow structured methods of understanding customers. The heterogeneity of customers has to be reduced to some level of homogeneity. We should not force fit customers into particular groups, but at the same time, we should be able to stimulate customer thinking to opt for one or the other of the customer groups. And this is the philosophy of strategic customer and product mix. We have illustrated this with reference to the mobile phones. Let's look at the hotels and hospitality sector. Taj Group of Hotels presents another interesting case example for this concept of SCPM in the hotel space. There are four types of customer groups for Taj. One, the budget hotel group. Two, the business hotel group. Third, the luxury hotel group. And fourth, palatial customer group. So the budget hotel group has been more recently introduced for a company which was more inclined towards business hotels and luxury hotels. The features of the budget hotel group is that service level is of a little standard, but it is not exactly like the super hotels. So we may, for the sake of this understanding, say that the service level is low. The budget level is also low. Why do we call service level low? Mainly because the room size will be small. There may not be many toiletry kits that are available. The bed sheets, etc., will be of a different nature, not necessarily of low quality, but of a different nature. The luxury element will be absent in that. There may not be significant desk facilities in the room, etc. It is a functional hotel, and that would have Ginger as the example. Then business hotels such as Gateway, where the features are high, but the pricing is still lower compared to the luxury hotels. Then they have prices which are high in respect of luxury hotels and which are high also in features. Vivanta is an example. Some customers would like to have palatial view of life, and they literally and figuratively like palatial hotels. That's why Taj Group of Hotels has come into the palatial hotel group, offering low service because the palaces are so huge that you cannot have one-on-one service as it happens in the luxury hotels, but high on price. So the intention of the residents or guests is just to stay in such an ambience, is not about service. Therefore, that is a group which has emerged of late. So the customer groups for Taj Group of Hotels are in terms of these four categories, of which Ginger, Gateway, Vivanta, and Lake Palace are reflective of that trend. And we have to obviously use this classification with some kind of moderation and with some kind of discrimination. When we say palatial is in the low service feature group, it doesn't mean that it has a service level that is same as Ginger. What it means is that the level of service that is offered, given the kind of pricing the product takes, and the given the kind of luxury palatial ambience that it offers, is commensurately not equal, but it is low. That is the meaning of that. So we have to keep that kind of labeling in mind when we look at these kinds of strategic customer and service examples. And this interestingly works with both business customers as well as individual customers, and it applies to business level customer requirements as well as individual level customer requirements. Hotels also themselves classify in terms of business hotels and individual customers. So what this means is that we should be able to understand the customer, to be able to find some homogeneity within the heterogeneity of customers. There are three ways to understand the customer. One, experiential and intuitive. That is what people who are in the superstores, people who are in the trade channels use. They have experienced customer interactions. Therefore, they intuitively understand what would happen with the customer profile and customer purchase. The second is a very structured approach which professional organizations undertake, market research. And the third is design thinking. The experiential and intuitive approach is a very seasoned approach. It is a visionary process. You are able to understand the customer's evolution because you have lived the life with the customer as part of the interactions. The market research is a structured process that is established over the last several decades, and it helps the company choose its path based on certain principles and guidances. But design thinking is the new way of understanding the customers. There is also another way which can be attributed to only one or two companies, that is the Apple's way. The seasoned, visionary, and intuitive way, which is so pioneeringly developed by Apple that nobody is able to imitate it or clone it to the extent Apple has done. It is a very unique way. And in that, there is an intrinsic natural competency of the CMO and CMO embedded in that approach. Let's look at this. I would like to take a little digression to talk about Steve Jobs, who represented the life and soul of technology. Because what he did is a reflection of business development and strategic marketing at its pinnacle. He was an iconic leader of technology and business. If Apple products have achieved the cult status that they have achieved, and if Apple has become the first company in the world to cross $1 trillion market value ceiling, Steve's technological genius and business leadership are solely responsible. Between 1995 and 2011, Steve Jobs led an life at the helm of Apple, which was transformative for the company. He was undoubtedly one of the greatest technological visionaries and business leaders of all times. He defined in actual practical product and service terms what words like creativity, innovation, and connectivity mean. And that happened because he has designed and manufactured and delivered the products and customer experiences in a very unique fashion. He clearly belongs to the rare class of leaders who gave depth and substance to the concepts we abstractly talk about in management. Those concepts are never fully and truly experienced by the users. They may be experienced by the companies, but they are never truly and fully used by the actual customers. Therefore, Steve Jobs' loss is a loss for the world of technology, for the field of consumer electronics. We became poorer by his departure. It doesn't mean that the institution hasn't progressed thereafter. It did progress. And there also there is a lesson that he has put in place a successor who is worthy of his legacy. That is also one of the important leadership attributes. Steve's genius lay in the fact that his products had a universal appeal. We all know that a managing director of a company would not like to have a product which a chauffeur of a car which he once has. That is how the human mind is. Rather unfortunate, but that's what the truth is. People with high income tend to have certain types of products and would not like to be seen in the same class and same grouping as people who do not have that level of income but have same kind of superior product. So then they feel that this product is not worth my purchase. So these are the kinds of what shall we say, you may call them emotional perversities that people tend to generate for themselves during the life's journey. But that is a fact of life. But Steve's genius lay in the fact that his products had a universal appeal, from highly developed markets to low income markets, and from affluent consumers to indigenous customers. It was very commonplace to have a cab driver use the same iPhone which the managing director who is riding in the cab would have. That's the acceptance in a universal sense for the products he designed and delivered. So, segmentation, as defined for decades by marketing gurus, had no relevance at all for Steve's design of Apple products and customers. iPhone is a classic example of universal appeal. It was first introduced by Steve Jobs on January 9, 2007 at the Macworld Conference and Expo held in San Francisco, California. At that time, he said, "This is a day that I have been looking forward to for 2.5 years." And he added, "Today, Apple is going to reinvent the phone." He introduced the iPhone as a combination of three devices path-breaking at that point of time: a widescreen iPod with touch controls, a revolutionary mobile phone, and a breakthrough internet communicator. And he praised it well at that point of time. Collaborators and competitors have been one in praising the enormous transformation he brought about in the deployment of digital technology to improve and enhance everyday living. It is a device socialism of a unique nature. The socialistic philosophy of Steve Jobs limited the number of products and number of product varieties. He believed in device universality and commonness of aspirations across segments. So the pre-Steve Jobs wisdom was as follows. Every industry or business corporation believed in offering products at a lower level, so-called utilitarian products, to one stratum of the society, and products at a higher level, that is luxury level, to another stratum. We also discussed about segmentation in that kind of terms earlier. But Steve's paradigm was that one standardized, high technology, high value product should be available for all sections of the society. And when that happens, independent of income disparities, customers across the income segments would want such a product. Therefore, the foundation of the Steve's paradigm was universality. He did not believe in the practice of either skimming the market with hyped up value and usurious pricing or fragmenting it with broken technologies and flexible pricing. One standard high performance product, elegant in looks, affordable in pricing to every segment. In fact, his products are the same whether for billionaires or commoners. In the first several years of iPod, iPhone, and iPad revolution, he offered only one standardized model for all customer segments. He also defined what it means to be a part of digital ecosystem. He not only infused life not only into technology of products, but he rendered its functioning soulful. He made retailing and consumer experience truly emotive and of lasting attachment. And today, Apple is continuing on the same path. So, is it retailing or customer experience? That's the point which he made. So, when manufacturers used to think of retailing as a different expertise, nothing to do with manufacturing, Steve Jobs propounded the concept of Apple stores to enable and enhance integrated user experience. Within 3 years, with 320 retail stores, 237 which are in USA, Apple Retail Network extended the integration of ecosystem further. Each store set new standards for customer experience. In 2011, Apple started its iCloud service, which seamlessly stores all the music, photos, movies, documents, and applications, as well as business activities such as mails, calendars, and many others. And it pushes these wirelessly to all the Apple device users. So, cloud, retail, and globalization. The strategies of integration, outsourcing, and collaboration thus became one under a vision of digital ecosystem for Apple products, services, and customers. And for Apple customers, Apple was a digital home. So this is the learning from Apple. That is understanding the customers so thoroughly that you see the commonness and commonality and universality rather than differences. You don't exploit the differences and create products and costs for that. Instead, you appreciate the commonness and enthuse the customers to embrace certain products which are representative of the homogeneous nature of the desires, aspirations, wants, and needs. We talked about customers being typified by demographics. Demographics, as I said earlier, includes many factors: gender, age, education, and income. These are the four key factors. Therefore, you have a personality related to yourself or myself. There is a spending and buying persona for us. There is a gender persona which is very specific in respect of certain products and very influential in respect of certain products, and neutral or diffident in respect of certain products. Like, it is very specific with reference to the women wear, obviously. It is influential with reference to what happens with reference to purchase of kitchen items or other lifestyle items, and it is indifferent to the men's purchases in a way. Then you have age. There are many specific examples to age. Some are common to various age groups and some are very distinctive to the age group. Like geriatric population requires one type of devices as well as lifestyle requirements, whereas people who are in the millennial age group require different kinds of products and different kinds of experiences. Then you have education driven customer typology. Depending upon your level of education, you could be very follower kind of customer, or you could be very analytical and discriminative type of personality. So there are four types of personality which arise from the educational, income, gender, and age profiles of the customers. Marketing and business development must be demographically relevant to be customer centric and effective. This is one classification. The other classification is by way of geography. You could have a state level nativity. You could have a multi-state type of inclusivity. There could be continental nature, and finally there could be a global nature of the customers. So when you look at the state level, each state is a market by itself. Gujarat has its own peculiar needs. The food habits are different, the ethnicity is different. Therefore, the products that are required, particularly when weaved into the family system or the individual lifestyle, are different. When you look at the multi-state like South India, West India, East India, and North India, you have different kinds of homogeneity levels that need to be considered in planning the product mix. Continental is European Union being an example, or SARC being an example. There are some geographies which offer good potential from a business development point of view. Then you have global, that is a product which is universally applicable, available, multi-continental example. These are common across some geographies, but they are also not common in respect of certain geographies. Demographic, economic, cultural, and behavioral factors tend to be common within the geographies. And as the diasporas increase in each of these areas, then the commonness has to be catered to. Then by behavior, customers can be seen in terms of different types based on their key behavioral trends. Some customers are emotional. They make purchases based on the emotional consideration. Like my father had this kind of cloth, I must have this kind of cloth. Or my family's heritage is to possess these kinds of things, therefore I would possess. These are particularly applicable in the modern day situation to personal care products. Then you have the behavioral trait of being analytical. You just like that, but don't buy a car. Some people do buy, but most people would like to understand the power torque, ground clearance, the wheelbase, the space. They would like to feel and experience the specifications. That is the analytical personality. Then there are people who are thoughtful. You want to buy, but you are very thoughtful. Buying a fitness product is not an easy task. A lot of thought goes into buying a fitness product. Even a product which supplements your fitness regime is a thoughtfully bought product. Then you have compulsive behavioral trait. You buy a smartphone because of the compulsive nature of human behavior, particularly of the younger generation. Various customers have typical purchasing patterns, which would be the foundations of business development again. Then there is a customer typology that is related to culture. There are four types of cultural facets as far as the overall marketing is concerned. First is social, second is religious, third is nativity, and fourth is ethnicity. When you look at the social personality, products of social standing, that is, being in an apartment or being in an apartment of a particular type, being in an independent house, they all are reflective of the social requirements for you as an individual. Then you have religious personality, that is, you want to buy certain products which are related to you because of religion. Every Hindu home may be lighting a lamp within the home puja room. Therefore, there is demand for lamp oil from those households. Other religions may prefer candles, we don't know. Other religions may prefer other ways of worshipping or conforming to the religious scriptures, and that could be leading to purchase of different kinds of products. Then there is the question of nativity, that is, certain products are native to certain geographies. Chinese medicine is native to China. Indian herbal medicine is native to India. Indian Ayurvedic medicine is native to India. So, products related to those kinds of classifications are approved and seconded in those nativities from customers' point of view. Then there is the process of ethnicity or the facet of ethnicity. Committed to certain types of apparel would be the ethnic population. So saris are very popular in certain areas, just as kimonos are popular in Japan. So that is the ethnicity which is driving the products. Product development, marketing, and business development have to be aligned, and they have to be culturally sensitive as far as the customer typologies are concerned. Then you have got psychography. Psychography refers to personality, values, attitudes, and interests that influence the customer. When we talk about the personality, here it is not the technological personality and things like that. It is the basic genetic personality and the personality that has evolved over the life's journey. And the four key psychological aspects are attitudes, interests, values, and personality itself. The personality of being one with signature dresses, accessories, or goods is one type of personality which drives the demand for those products from the customer. Then the attitudes, again, being in an apartment which is humble, being in a villa which is luxurious, is an attitude which drives the demand. And looking at such customers, people position the products. Other classification is that of interests. I am interested in organic farming. I am interested in responsible media. The demand for such products and services would be aligned to the interests of those customers. Then the values. I need to use only socially responsible products and services and nothing else. So you may not take any products which get delivered to you through food delivery because they use plastic, they use throwaway containers. So you do not like that. So your value system doesn't agree with the entire takeaway business of food delivery. So understanding consumer psychography helps business development advocate high levels of environmental empathy, social responsibility, and corporate governance. So customers themselves are of different types. There are four types of customers. One type of customers is neutral customer. The customer is not swayed by either the past associations or advertisements, brands, company standing, etc. They remain neutral. And if there is a genuine need in their minds for the kind of products that are offered and communicated about, they would buy that. Otherwise, they stay neutral. Then there are questioning customers. They are never satisfied with one product. They keep switching between the products, and they question the need for and utility of products or services. Even in an organization, when a central service is there, as an example, HR, there could be other functions which are questioning the importance of HR itself. Such customers do not utilize the service that is available in respect of a HR department. Then we have new customers who become interested in certain products or services because of the first time introduction of such products. They would like to explore those products, feel those products or services, and hopefully enjoy the incremental experience they gain out of such products and services. When a health product is introduced for the first time, people would like to explore, and that reflects the new customer category. Loyal customers are those customers which respect and even adore past relationships and stay with the companies, the products, and brands. As an example, I have bought Synthol as a student 50 or 60 years ago, and even today I use a Synthol soap. So I'm a loyal customer by that measure. It doesn't mean that I haven't looked at other soaps because so many choices and options have come into the marketplace over the last 5 decades. Yet I remain loyal to the core product which I have been with in all my professional life journey or academic life journey and so on. So customers are loyal to products and brands, which is why marketing's core goal is to create that brand connect, that customer connect. The four types of customers influence the basic types of communication from the marketers. If our customer group is neutral, we need to find out ways and means by which they can be influenced in a genuine way. If the customers are questioning type of customers, we have to provide all answers to the questions that they have or they may have. If the customers are new, we should encourage them to try out the new products and also build attachment and connect with such customers. And if the customers are loyal, we should reward their loyalty. We should make additional benefits available to them through more customized products, better features, or very specific loyalty programs. So, understanding the basic customer types is an important marketing objective. So far we have talked about individual customers. Would business customers have similar typologies? Yes, they would have. There are six types of personalities which we can look at in respect of businesses. The first category is visionary business customer. Such customers share the vision of business development. When you approach such a company and say that there is good business sense in my combining my product development and manufacturing capability with your marketing capability, the visionary business customer appreciates that. And these visionary types are very useful for creating mega relationships. Then we have business customers who are explorers. They always seek new vistas of development. They would like to see how different continents offer potential for your products. They see how different kind of business relationships could trigger different ways of doing business, but they would have so many options to consider that they may get bogged down by more than one choice or the liberal choice they develop for themselves through their exploratory missions. Then there are adventurers, bold risk takers anticipating high rewards, and they are unlikely to be patient and persistent also. GE took that bold step by getting into the financial services business decades ago. That was real risk taking when people didn't appreciate the importance of India in the United States. And yet, it is not a permanent, perpetual entity that GE built. After some time, it has been sold over to the private equity firm. Had the company decided to be continuing on the path, it would have become a financial behemoth by now. Then we have seekers. They are always curious and ever hungry to understand new options. They are willing to take intuitive, optimal risk reward bets on new kind of operations. So if you create an air conditioner, which is also virus removal, you are going to appeal to this kind of customer group in the business. Then there are analyzers, that is, who demand a huge amount of data to make decisions, and they can do only limited number of partnerships. And protectors are those who avoid risk. They want multiple assurances and they are likely to miss on great business opportunities. So the business customers have different needs, particularly of building relationships, building partnerships, building portfolio synergy, building customer complementarity, and so on. And the kind of mindsets they have in terms of visionary behavior, explorer behavior, adventurous behavior, seeking behavior, analyzing behavior, and protecting behavior influences the strategies that you as a business development leader must have. So we could think of a desirable customer typology for your company, because a customer's typology is not made up of a single attribute. We need to have customers who display within themselves multiple personalities, and that is critical to business development. Even if you don't want to be kind of customizing, you have to be aware that your marketplace and your customer may belong to one or the other of the classifications. When you look at this pie chart, you will find most of the businesses are visionary type, and they are always explorative because they believe that growth can only come through being a visionary and being an exploratory company. They also seek new opportunities, and they are less of analyzers, even less of protectors, and probably more of adventurers. When you have this kind of classification, you know how to exactly approach a business customer. It is not a standardized prescription by any means, and the mix could vary from customer to customer. The customers and business development persons interface all the time. In respect of businesses, success arises only through building of relationships. There is no brand power as such that you can display. The brand power that you have as a corporate brand and as an individual manager or leader gets you an entry into the discussion process. Beyond that, it is only the relationship building that matters. So you have to develop the customers, you have to develop the business in the process of interaction. Let's look at an interaction between a company which is providing technology, such a company is called licensor, and a company which is taking the technology for a fee. Such company is called licensee. Let us look at the relationship between the licensor and licensee. The licensor owns the product and needs to monetize the product in a non-competitive way. Licensee needs the product and has the money to acquire. So as a result of this, a business deal happens. That is product licensing with fees and royalties. And the paradox and reality of business is that every business developer is also a customer, and every customer is also a business developer. You may think that I am licensing the product from the licensor, but for the licensor, you are a customer because you are providing money to the licensor and also providing loyalty because of the higher sales the licensee would have because of the product. So, this concept of looking at yourself as a business leader and the other as the customer leader may not be probably right. You require business development, but that doesn't mean that the licensor doesn't need business development. Both are intrinsic requirements. One is more visible than the other, that's all. So we have to believe in these personalities of the typical customer and the typical business developer, and we therefore confident about the role that you are playing. The convergence or divergence in the personalities determines the nature of deals. That is, if the licensor business developer is very aggressive and the licensee business developer is meek, then you would have one type of alliances vis-a-vis the situation being the reverse. So all of these things have to be kept in mind, and that's where self-awareness is as important as awareness about others. We will focus on the individual's role in business development in some of the later lectures. So when you look at these kinds of typologies, again, you have to look at the complexities that arise. But you must also be cognizant that these typologies are far more easy to handle than handling each individual customer, whether individual or business separately. This provides you a good typology to look at. So there are two axes to this: one, customer personality, and second is the business development personality. Why am I saying this? Because every business development personality also has an inbuilt individual personality. So you have the customer personality of visionary, explorer, adventurer, seeker, analyzer, and protector. And as a business developer, you will have the same types of personalities. Let's example. So if you as the customer, please remember that although you are a customer, you are also a business development person. If you are a visionary, and if the business development personality of the other company is also a visionary, you are likely to get mega futuristic ventures. It is like Tesla collaborating with Toyota to develop the automobiles for the not next generation, next to next generation, or ISRO of India collaborating with Maruti Suzuki to generate a new series of flying cars. Now, those are the mega futuristic ventures that could happen when visionary will meet with a visionary. Then you could have an explorer meeting with an explorer. Then you will have a high potential canvas, but the result could be low because both are in the exploratory mode. Then you also could have an adventurer who has a counterpart of adventurous capability and nature. Many projects will come up with high risk and high bet nature, and whether they will be succeeding or not, time only will foretell. Then you may have a seeker customer personality and a seeker business development personality, in which case you are going to have steady, systematic bets, which will be good for ongoing businesses. You may have an analyzer in you, and you may have an analyzer in your counterpart, in which case lot of analysis but very poor result. Then you could be very conservative in terms of protectionist approach, and the counterpart also could be there. Then what you get in terms of business development is a risk averse, poor result ecosystem. So the customer personality and business development personality, as I have outlined, are going to be very important for you to understand where you can be, because from this you can generate other components as well. That is, if you are explorer as a customer and the business development counterpart is visionary, you will tend to be all over but with little results. On the other hand, you are adventurer and the business development counterpart is visionary, you will have high risk futuristic bets. Similarly, other combinations will get calibrated futuristic bets, well balanced futuristic bets, and in some cases vision that is suboptimized by conservatism. When you look at a singular explorer business development personality interacting with the different customer personalities of adventurer, seeker, analyzer, and protector, you will get again multiple results, all over with little results, aggressive outreach with optimal results, conflict with some resolution, and conflict with low results. If you are an adventurous business development personality interacting with different types of customer persons of, let's say, seeker, analyzer, protector, you may get moderation of high risk bets, conflict with some resolution, and conflict with no resolution. Then moving up further, you are a seeker as a business developer, but you have people at analyzer and protector level. Then you will have joint work with good result. You will also be eliminating many options without really thinking, respectively. Let's say you are an analyzer and you have option to discuss only with protector because all the others have already been looked at. Then you will have the problem of eliminating too many options. And if you are a protector, I have already said, with a protector you have no hope. You will just be discovered. Now these kinds of combinations that occur are very telltale, and you can see yourself horizontally or vertically in terms of this matrix and find out where your approaches, where your customer typologies, where your strategies are going to lead the companies that you are representing as business developers and customers. It is not necessary that customers and business development executives of the same typology will necessarily make for good combinations. Such combinations could be suboptimal too. We have seen protector with protector leading to the worst possible result situation. In most cases of visionaries, working with visionaries could lead to good mega futuristic bets. But there would need to be some kind of personality difference for the complementarities and synergies to come out in the best possible manner. Ultimately, only some combinations of customer and business development personalities result in optimal outcomes, while others end up in suboptimal outcomes. So, this is a very important lesson in terms of understanding various customer typologies by various methodologies, and I have given real life case examples for us to apply to your own industry setting, to your own business setting, and to your own personalities, which are influenced by demographics, psychographics, basic personality types, etc. So all of this will be useful in shaping one's personality as a business development leader. With this, we come to the end of this lecture. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the next lecture.